Hey traders, good afternoon. Edison here with the Edison Trading Collective. It's about 12 minutes after 12, a little after high noon here in Wisconsin. Beautiful day, 60 degrees, full sun. This is not something we get too often, excuse me, around this time of the year, so we're pretty happy about it here. Um, yeah, so had an okay day today. It sort of seems like deja vu, rinse and repeat. Don't get a lot of alignment out of the gates, either on the 1 minute or 5 minute on Tesla. It hasn't been really lining up with the SPY the way I'd like it to, and um, just pretty frustrating, I suppose. I mean, I've been green. I think this is my eighth green day um, in a row, and that's great. But it just, you know, not the level of success that I really have sort of become accustomed to, particularly after rolling off such a great quarter, Q4 in 2021. But we're managing. We're just trading smaller size and accepting smaller risk and accepting the fact that we will probably have smaller green days as a result. And once we start seeing some good alignment in pre-market, once we start seeing some follow-through in coordination with that alignment, we can start stepping things back up a little bit, putting on a little more risk, putting on a little more size, and then we can expect to make a little more profit. But until then, we're just going to survive this garbage market, in my opinion, and do the best we can. Excuse me. So I had just one short today on Tesla, and I had no bias going into the pre-market, or rather the open today. The pre-market kind of traded sideways in a really tight range, basically within a 5-point range the entire pre-market, until just about the very end it really dumped off, and I thought, okay, well, that certainly doesn't look like a stock that wants to run. Of course it did eventually, but not when I was looking at it. And so I really just was looking for a scalp. I was really afraid of this 805 level. As you can see, it definitely held. It was yesterday's high, and some consolidation on the close here around that level as well. And so I had 805 to contend with because I was short above it. And then I had the whole number to contend with as well. And I thought if I got through the whole number, that I could maybe hunt 782 or something like that again. But it wasn't meant to be. It threw in this candle, and I bailed here. So I ended up taking the 800s. I really don't like to be that far out of the money on Wednesdays. I was about $10 out of the money, and I usually like to be at the money or slightly in the money or just slightly out of the money. But being 10 points out of the money on a Wednesday is not really something I love. It just so happened that the liquidity and subsequent spreads in the 800s were so compelling that I just chose to do that. So it was a pretty cheap trade. I only took 6 contracts, and it was only about a $9,000 trade. And I made just shy of 5% or something like that. So again, just wasn't a spectacular trade, but I think it was pretty likely that it was going to work out in my favor. It did. So let's quickly talk a little bit about it. So Tesla sells off pre-market. It pops back up. It throws in the shooting star. I get short underneath it. Trying to hold, I took some out here on the 833, trying to hold a piece in case, again, it gets below that 800 and I catch some big runner with a couple of contracts left. It throws in this huge, bottom wick, and I bailed as it came back up over 805, and I think I got about, well, I got an average of about 75 cents a contract. I think I had more on maybe a couple and less on a couple, and then it just kind of went up, and then it kind of traded sideways and went up, and it came back down, and I just decided I'm done with it. At that point in time, the time that I got short the trade, the SPY was throwing in a bunch of upper wicks, excuse me, here with the charts, and I thought, okay, well, maybe the SPY can roll over. If you look here on the 831 and the 832 candle, the 832 candle is where I got short. You see the huge upper wick. I thought, okay, well, maybe this can roll over under 430 and really take Tesla down with it. It didn't, and you put in these huge upper wicks, and then you put in this big bottom wick, and the thing, I just put it away. I'm really not going to push things. If things work out fabulously for me out of the gates, and I capture a big trade, great. But if I just keep hitting base hits, I think this is my 8th green day in a row now, and up about 1,500 bucks on the week or something like that. So again, not huge numbers for me, but at the end of the day, not horrible either. I'm finding decent opportunities that are more than likely going to produce for me, and they are. I'm just I don't really consider myself a scalper, but I know that it might look that way. I just never consider myself a scalper, and I really do like to size into a position and sure take some profit off when I'm at a decent risk reward level. But I really like to have some pieces to let ride. Try to anyway. Sometimes I'm impatient, but I try to anyway. And this is just not a market environment where I think that's going to work for me. And sure enough, I was proven right again today. I would have been crushed if I held on, waiting for that move through 800 or something like that. Market didn't show it, and I wasn't going to fight it. So that's it. Net 433 on the day. Not a whole lot more to say. Just like yesterday's video. And probably the one before that, it's just kind of been blech for me. Just can't really find my way into these bigger moves that take an awful lot of time. I mean, look, this move from 805 to 840 took, an hour or more, and that's just not something I'm really good at. When I say I'm not a scalper, I mean I don't take 10,000 shares and look for 3-cent, winners, or 100,000 shares and look for 3-cent winners. I tend to trade in pretty tight windows, time frame, but I tend to look for points of movement, not just a ton of size with a very small movement. So I don't know, maybe I am a scalper. I just never really considered myself that. There are a lot of other traders out there in the community who I would say, yep, they're a scalper, and they would say, yep, I'm a scalper. And I just don't really consider myself that. However, I'm sort of turning into it in this market. So anyway, that's it. It for me today. I was one and done, which is cool. Very little risk. $433 in the green. Third green day this week. Had all green days last week as well. So on a nice little run here. Just looking for these moves to open up a little bit and find those opportunities to make my capital work a little bit more efficiently for me. A 4.8% winner and $433 isn't really terribly efficient in my opinion, and that's always something that I take a look at, how much capital I'm putting at risk to make a certain amount of money. And today was nothing spectacular in that regard, but that is okay. In any event, didn't mean to ramble on. Hope you all had a great open. Be careful out there. FOMC this afternoon. Probably 2 p.m. Eastern, I would guess. I won't be trading, but if you are, be careful. It's going to be a doozy more than likely. Certainly expecting some guidance that they're going to raise rates pretty immediately here, and probably with a schedule for the rest of the year as well. But we'll see. I'm not a Fed chairman, and frankly, I don't really care so long as the market gets out of this funk and starts moving. So that's what I care about right now. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow.